if you want to keep the aggregate spending same, and unemployed people have more marginal propensity to consume, so they will almost spend all of the 10 million that they get. Now, to balance that, you should increase taxation by more than 10 million to the employed people so that that can be balanced. Isha, did this make sense? Is B the answer? Okay, very good. Excellent. And is B the answer, right? Is this clear? Okay, very good. So if this is clear, then move on. If this is clear, we will move on. Okay, what's the next question? The table gives the national income of a country over 6 years. According to the accelerator principle, in which year did net investment first fall to a level below that of the previous year? According to accelerator principle, in which year did net investment first fall to the level below that of the previous year? Interesting. So what is accelerator principle? Students, can you tell me what's the accelerator principle? Accelerator principle says how much will be the change in investment due to change in national income? Due to change in national income. Okay. Now, in the first year, between first and second year, how much was the increase in national income? 10. How much was the increase in national income? 10. Right? In the next year, how much was the increase in national income? 15. Then in this, between these two, how much was change in national income? 10. So technically in year four, your net investment, right? Isha, think about this. What is accelerator principle? How much would be change in your investment due to change in national income? Due to change in national income, right? Okay. Now, this being said, national income. Okay. You have to tell, the question says, in which year did net investment fall to the level below that of the previous year? So if in any year, national income is changing less than the previous year, if in any year, national income is changing less than previous year, in that case, the net investment would fall. In that case, the net investment would fall. Now think about this. Between year one and year two, how much was the increase in investment? 10. How much was the increase in national income? 10, right? In the between second and third year, the change in national income was how much? 15. So that is greater than the previous year. So not a problem. But then between third and fourth year, right, it was only a change of 10. So it was less change in national income between 3 and 4 years compared to what it was between year 2 and year 3. So that means that your net investment should fall. So the answer should be B. Is the answer B? Right. Isha, and did you get this? Arbab, did you get this? Great. Very good. Isha, right? Okay, very good. Perfect. So let's move to the next question then. Okay. So the next question is this. The diagram shows 3 different levels of money supply, MS, and 3 different levels and 3 different demand curves for holding money balances. The initial equilibrium point is at X. Okay. Banks create more credit and people decide to hold more money as a precaution against emergency. What is the new equilibrium? Okay. Should be simple. You tell me, Arbab. So we have studied that liquidity preference is basically the demand for money and the money supply is straight vertical line, as you can see in the graph. Now, if banks are creating more credit, what does more credit means? That they are issuing more loans. They're giving more money, more loans to people. How will that affect this graph? And then if people are holding more money as a precaution, what would that do to the demand for money? What would that do to the demand for your money? Okay. Okay, let me read this. Let me read this. People will hold less money, more money, money supply will decrease. No, 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 no. Isha, think about this. When banks are creating more credit, that means they're issuing loans. When they're issuing, oh, so you're thinking of money to be as cash? Are you thinking of money to be as cash? I did tell you that money also includes the loan. Money supply in the modern economy also includes the loans that banks are creating. So if banks are creating more loans, giving more loans to people, right, that will increase the money supply. That will increase the money supply. When money supply increases, it shifts to the right. We know that, right? And the demand for money is increasing because now people are holding more money for cash. Sorry, are holding more money for precautionary motive, right? Right? Money supply will increase. And since people are holding more cash for precaution, what was, you remember, right? There were three motives to hold cash. Transactionary motive to buy goods and services that you need. Precautionary motive, just in case there is something you need the money for, that is precautionary motive. And the third is speculative motive. Speculative motive is when the interest rates in a bank are not very high. You keep your money in the form of cash. If obviously the interest rates go up, then people want to deposit their money in cash or money in a bank because that gives them more interest, right? So in this case, the money supply will increase because banks are creating more credit and people are also holding more, more money. So the demand will increase and the supply will increase and the new equilibrium would be at B. Is the answer B? Isha? Perfect. Great. Okay, 28. During the session, the government increases its expenditure on goods and services by 10 million, but leave taxes unchanged. So government is spending more, but taxes are the same. Why might the subsequent increase in national income be less than 10 million? Increased government borrowing increases interest rates. Okay. The marginal propensity to consume is less than 1. The marginal propensity to import is greater than 0. There is no accelerator effect on investment. Okay. Right. So let's look at this one more time. So the government is spending more on goods and services. The government is spending more, right? So government is making different projects, spending on education, healthcare, so on. But the government did not increase the tax rates. The government did not increase the interest rates, right? So taxes are the same, but government is spending more. Now it says, why might the subsequent increase in national income be less than 10 million? So less than 10 million increase in national income means that your multiplier effect. Do you guys remember we talked about the multiplier effect? What was multiplier effect? Multiplier effect is change in national income. What is multiplier effect? Change in national income divided by change in injection, right? So government spending is an injection, right? So if the government spending is increasing by 10 million, so at least the national income should have increased by 10 million. But if it's not increasing, what is the reason for that? And the reason for that is crowding out. Do you remember we talked about the crowding out in our class? How many of you remember? Arbab, Anisha, do you remember we talked about crowding out? Crowding out is when government take loan that increases the interest rates. Okay, fine. And when interest rates are higher, then the private sector would not borrow. The private sector would not borrow, right? And therefore, that would mean that overall private sector spending would decrease. And therefore, the overall increase in national income would be less than 10 million. Did you get this? Students, right? So think about this one more time. When government is increasing, so what is multiplier effect? Multiplier effect is how much will be the change in national income due to change in injection. Now government spending is an injection, right? Do you remember? Okay. Now when that is happening, so even if your multiplier effect would have been 1, multiplier effect have been 1, at least by 10 million, for 10 million increase in government spending, there should have been at least 10 million increase in national income, right? At least right? Because we know multiplier effect is always greater than 1. We did talk about this, right? So multiplier effect is always greater than 1. But even if it's 1, for 10 million increase in government spending, there should have been at least 10 million increase in national income. But if that is not happening, what does that show? That shows that something is reducing the demand on the other hand. And what could reduce the demand on the other hand? That is what I was telling you is known as crowding out. Crowding out is that when government borrows, right, from banks, that increases the interest rates. When that increases the interest rates, the private sector is discouraged to borrow and they will not spend that much. And therefore that will, right, exactly. So the answer should be A. Isha, did you get this or not? Did you get this? Right, very good, perfect. Right? That's all. Do you have any more questions? Or Bob, do you have questions? So if any one of you have questions, we can address those questions first before we move on to another paper. Okay, perfect. So let's do a paper then. Which year you want me to open? Right. Is my voice lagging? Hi, Bob. Okay. Isha, can you refresh? Do let me know if it's lagging. Sometimes the internet can be unreliable. Can you refresh, please? Right. Okay. Now, which year? Tell me, like, do you want to do a latest one, a little older one? Okay. Then, okay, let me find the latest one. Just a second. So how about we do 2021, May, June 2021. That would be the most recent, unless you have already done it. 18. We can do 18. Okay. Which summer 18 or winter 18? Okay, so if we open October, November 18, so let's do a slightly different variant, right? So we can do 3-1 and 3-3, right? So let me open the marking scheme for these two. So here is 3-1 and here's 3-3. Right, just a second. Okay, should we do this one? Right? Should we do 3-1? Students? Comparatively tougher, okay. Right, yeah, different time zones. I wouldn't say, Isha, that they are harder, but I mean, sometimes you might have attempted someone and then you might have come across some difficult ones. But generally, the level of difficulty examiner tries to keep constant, because then it would be unfair if you know you are making someone harder. Sometimes they might be. Right. Okay, so let's do this one, students. You can see my screen. Which statement is correct? Which statement is correct? External cost equals social cost minus private cost. Private cost equals external cost minus social cost. Equals, right. C says social cost equals external cost minus private cost. Social cost equals private cost minus external cost. Shouldn't be that difficult. So what do you think is the correct answer? Yeah. Hmm. So what is social cost made up of? Social cost is made up of private cost plus external cost, right? So to find the other way around, yes, the answer should be A. Because when you subtract, so if social cost is made up of private and external cost, so then from social cost, if you subtract private cost, automatically you will get external cost, right? You'll get external cost then. So the answer should be A. The answer should be A, right? Good. What is negative externality from consumption, right? A new road that results in more sales at shops in the town center, negative externality from consumption. A successful promotion of health eating that reduces days lost from work. Discharge of waste from a factory that damages fish in a local river. Increased popularity of smoking that increases demand on the health service. Right. Consumption. Negative externality related to consumption. Read again, read again, read again. Arbab, from consumption. This is not about consumption. D, oh, sorry, yes, that's D. Sorry, I messed it. Did you say D or did you say C? Let me check. D, yeah, D is correct. Sorry, my bad, my bad. I thought that you were saying, so yeah, that's correct, right? Because when people smoke, it is something that's basically consumption. And with that, there's more demand on the health service. Isha, is this clear? Okay, which type of efficiency is identified by price equals to marginal cost? A, simple, we do know. Price equals to marginal cost, that is the point of allocative efficiency. Excellent. A consumer can purchase two goods X and Y from a given income. What will cause the consumer's budget line to make a parallel shift to the right? A consumer can purchase two goods X and Y from a given income, right? What will cause the consumer's budget line to make a parallel shift to the right? Consumers' incomes are increasing. Increase, decrease by 20%. Parallel shift, it says. Wow. 10% increase in income, increase, increase. 10% decrease in income, but 20% decrease in this. 10% decrease in this, and 2020. Okay, that was interesting. But I think you should be. Read again. Read again, guys. No, no, no. D is not correct. Read again. So parallel, the problem with C is, think about this, the problem with C is, first of all, parallel shift to the right. I mean, it should increase. So if 10% increase in consumers' income, but prices are increasing by more than 10%. So overall, there will be a leftward shift in the budget line. Overall, guys, there will be a leftward shift in the budget line. Arbab, did you get me? Shifts to the right means their income has, yes, their purchasing power has increased. Overall, there's increase in real income. Overall, there's increase in real income. Yes or no? So if your income is increasing by only 10%, but your prices for the two products is increasing by 20%. So your budget line will not shift to the right. It will shift to the left. Yes? Okay. Same goes. The problem with C. 10% increase in income, but the prices are also increasing more than that, not a shift outwards. Think about B, by the way. Think about B. So incomes is only decreasing by 10%, students, but the decrease in the prices is first of all the same. So the technique in this question was, if it has to be a parallel shift, if it has to be a parallel shift, then the decrease or increase in the price of X and Y should be the same. That is the main trick. That's the main trick, students, right? So in this case, if the price is decreasing by 10%, but the price of products decrease by more than 10%, obviously, overall, there will be an outward shift. Yes or no? Right? Isha? Did you get me? Okay. Think about this. So now the question was saying that which of these changes will cause a parallel shift to the right? Which of these will cause a parallel shift to the right, right? Now think about this. If this is your budget line, right? If this is your budget line, right? Now think about this. If it is shifting parallel outwards, this means overall the consumer's purchasing power is increasing. Overall consumer's purchasing power is increasing, right? Parallel shift, right? So it cannot be a shift like this. It cannot be a shift like this because this is not a parallel shift. This is not a parallel shift. The one that I made earlier is the parallel shift, right? Now, if it has to be a parallel shift, first thing you should know and towards outside, it's going out, right? So first thing that you should know that the prices should decrease. The prices should decrease. Either the income should increase or the prices should decrease. But the trick part in this question was that consumers' income are never only increasing in the last two cases. But what's the problem with D? If 10% increase in the income, right? So the budget line will shift outwards, but then the prices of the products is increasing by more than that. The prices of the products are increasing by more than that, right? Are you getting me? Right, what shift happens, right, when prices decrease. Exactly. Exactly, right? So think about this, Isha. 10% increase in income. So it will be an outward shift, but when the prices of the products is increasing by more than that, when the price of the products is increasing by more than that, there would be an overall leftward shift in budget line. Yes or no? So D could not be the answer, right? If you come to see a 10% increase in incomes, that's a good thing. Incomes is increasing, but the price of X is also increasing by 10%. So would there overall be an outward shift? Would there overall be an outward shift? Just think about this. If so, income is increasing by 10%, but the price of X also increases by 10%. So the two are canceling each other out, right? The two are canceling each other out. Yes or no? Isha, when prices of the products decrease, as Bob said, only then the budget line shift outwards because you can afford more, right? You can afford more. Now for the B part, income is decreasing by 10% and the prices are decreasing by more than 10%. So when the income decreases, the budget line will shift inwards. But then if the price of the two products is decreasing by more than 10% and by the same percentage, then overall your budget line will shift outwards and by the same extent, it will be a parallel shift. It will be a parallel shift. Right? Okay, perfect. Perfect, right? So that's what you have to remember, that whenever there is a parallel shift, whether right to the left, the prices of the goods should change by the same extent. It should change by the same extent because otherwise it not will be a parallel. Some product you can be able to afford more and some you can able to afford more. So that's the thing, right? Okay, now let's look at the next question. The line RS in the diagram shows the different combination of good X and Y that a consumer can afford with her present income, right? The consumer's original equilibrium is at M, right? Okay. What could explain a subsequent change in her equilibrium position to N? Now, when you're moving from M to N, what could be the reason, right? What could explain a subsequent change in her equilibrium position to N? Right. M. Right. So you're saying B. The line RS in diagram shows different copies good X and Y. The consumer M. What could explain a subsequent change in an equilibrium position to N? Right. So I'm just assuming if this happens and then no. So if this is this. Okay. So what could explain? Just think about this. I'll be back with you in a minute. Sorry about that, students. Achaji, so what could explain a subsequent change in her equilibrium position to N? A change in her tastes, okay? An increase in the price of X and a fall in the price of Y. So if the price of X is changing, price of X is increasing. So if the price of X is increasing, think about this. So it will shift inwards from X, right? And price of Y is decreasing. So it will go like this, somewhat like this, right? It will go like this, right? So, okay. So this is how the change would look like, right? So it would look like this. So outward shift from that to this, right? Makes sense. It can be the answer, right? An increase in the price of X and a smaller percentage increase in the price of Y. Increase in the price of X, increase in the price of X, and a smaller percentage increase in the price of Y. So it will shift like this because increase in the price of X and a smaller percentage. So not that much shifting from outwards. C cannot be true at all. Equal percentage increase in her income in both prices. Equal percentage increase in her income and both prices. Then the budget line will not shift at all. In the case of D, Isha or Bob, did you get this? If there's equal percentage increase in her income. So if income is increasing and both prices are also increasing, then the budget line will not shift, but it will stay the way it is. Then it will stay the way it is. Right? Make sense? Right? Okay. Now, this being said, right? So the answer should be B. Because as I told you, increase, B was saying increase in the price of X, increase in the price of X, and a fall in the price of Y. So the product price which is falling will shift outwards and the other ones will stay the same. And now if you think of how the indifference curve will look like, it will look like this. So it's tangent on 2 points. Did you get this part, students? So it will be tangent on 2 parts. Previously it was over there and now it will be over here like this. Got it? So the answer should be B. Let's confirm it, but so 5 is B. Great. Okay. Let's move. Okay. The table shows the total revenue and marginal cost of a firm at different levels of production. Within which output range will the firm's profit be maximized? Total revenue and marginal cost of a firm at different levels of production. Within which output range will the firm's profits be maximized? Will the firm's profits be maximized? Okay, output range and firm profit. So what is the formula for maximizing total profit? That is marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. So you have to see where is marginal cost equals to marginal revenue. That's what you need to find out. Where is marginal revenue equals to marginal cost? Where's marginal revenue? Come on, students, should be taking you that long. How do you calculate marginal revenue? So the difference in total revenue is your marginal revenue, right? So 120 minus 70, 50 is your marginal revenue. But how much is the marginal cost? 15. So that can't be the answer. Then moving from 3 to 4, how much is your marginal revenue? 160 minus 120, how much? 40. And how much was the marginal cost? Only 20. So that can't be the answer. Moving from 4 to 5, how much is your marginal revenue? 190 minus 160, 30. And your marginal cost is 25. Can't be the answer. In unit 6, 220 minus 190 is 30. 30 is your marginal revenue and 30 is your marginal cost. So what should be the answer then? Right? C, simple. Right? Isha, did you get this? 7 is B. 7 is B. Sorry, 6. I had to look at 6. My bad. 6 is C. Yeah, 6 is C. My bad. Right? Easy. Can move on? Okay. The diagram shows, Isha, did you get this? Profit maximizing cost and revenue curves. What would be the increase in the firm's output if it was required to change the price equals to the marginal cost? What will be the change in output if it's required to change the price equals to marginal cost? Where will the firm produce first and where will it produce second? Right. Very good. Very nice.
marginal cost, marginal revenue